Dr. Kaushik, if I could just come to you in my remaining moments here, just about the dangers posed by China and AI. You highlighted in your opening statement, your written statement, the 2017 National Intelligence Law in the PRC requiring Chinese citizens and organizations to share information with state intelligence. Can you just speak to the dangers of American AI companies doing business with China, investing in Chinese AI, partnering with the Chinese businesses, whether overtly state-controlled or not? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sir, thank you for that.
Today, a powerful message echoes through the halls of Congress, one that every corporate CEO in America should take seriously. Senator Josh Hawley is drawing a bold line in the sand, speaking out against American companies supporting Chinese AI development. Let's start with why this issue is coming up right now. China's 2017 National Intelligence Law mandates that all Chinese companies and citizens share information with the state upon request. This has raised serious concerns about privacy, data security, and national security.
Dr. Kaushik, if I could just come to you in my remaining moments here, just about the dangers posed by China and AI. You highlighted in your opening statement, your written statement, the 2017 National Intelligence Law in the PRC requiring Chinese citizens and organizations to share information with state intelligence. Can you just speak to the dangers of American AI companies doing business with China, investing in Chinese AI, partnering with the Chinese businesses, whether overtly state-controlled or not? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Sir, thank you for that question. I think it hits right at the heart of the argument on economic security and national security. I think American businesses doing business in the PRC, at one point, our government promoted them to do it. And that's okay. Like, that was our understanding of the PRC back then. But things have changed. And today, if a company goes and invests in China, what they are doing is inherently supporting their economy, inherently supporting an authoritarian regime. They don't know whether what they're investing in is also fueling slave labor in Xinjiang. I think that is an important consideration for any American company who wants to invest in other countries. They have to take that into account. We have to be realistic about what is happening. We cannot live in a dreamland of the China we want to operate with. We do not control that. We control what is the China that we are operating with.
I'm so glad to hear that from you, and I hope that every corporate CEO will listen and take to heart the words you just said. I asked partly because I just had the opportunity to talk with an Intel executive who was testifying at a different committee. Intel, of course, is investing billions in China and in Chinese AI in particular. And this executive argued to me, this was just 48 hours ago, argued to me that this is of great benefit to the United States. There are no security concerns with it at all. It's really good for America. But the telling thing was, you mentioned the Uyghurs, Xinjiang province. He would not condemn the persecution of the Uyghurs. He said, well, I can't speak to that. It's unclear if there really is any forced labor in China. This, I think, is frankly the moral hazard that our companies face. If they do business in China, if they find themselves compromised by the PRC, they run the risk of supporting slave labor, of helping the Chinese AI program in a way that is materially to our detriment, but is also, frankly, just morally wrong. So thank you for your clarity on that. And I just think these companies, these so-called American companies, it's time that they actually did something for the values that we cherish as Americans. And ending slave labor ought to be at the very top of that list. And I frankly am sick of these companies taking billions. Intel is getting billions, $8.5 billion just approved to go to Intel.
When American companies invest or partner with Chinese AI firms, they're potentially giving China access to sensitive information and technology. We need to be realistic about the situation. When American companies invest in Chinese AI, they're supporting that economy, an economy that doesn't necessarily align with American values or global human rights. Hawley emphasizes a pressing moral issue when American companies work with China. They may unknowingly support forced labor and unethical practices. In one particular case, he references an Intel executive's comments about their investments in China. Just 48 hours ago, an Intel executive told me there were no security concerns with their Chinese investments. And when I asked if they'd condemn forced labor involving the Uyghurs in Xinjiang, they dodged the question entirely. This is the moral hazard we face when American companies refuse to take a stand. Supporting Chinese AI doesn't just present a moral issue, it's a security risk. As Dr. Kosick points out, when American firms invest in Chinese tech, it's not always clear how that technology will be used. If American companies continue down this path, they may unwittingly aid China in areas that compromise our own economic and national security. We can't afford to ignore this threat any longer. If American companies aren't careful, they risk undermining their own country's security for the sake of profit. Senator Hawley makes it clear this isn't just about money, it's about standing up for the values we all cherish. These so-called American companies need to stand for something. It's time to put an end to slave labor, to refuse partnerships that harm our own interests, and to support American values above all else. If you want to stay informed about these crucial issues shaping our world, be sure to subscribe to our channel. We'll keep you updated on the stories that matter most. It's time for every CEO to hear this message and take it seriously. Senator Hawley and Dr. Kosick have drawn attention to an issue that could shape the future of American security and the global tech landscape. At the heart of it all is a question. Will American companies choose profit over principle? And are we, as a nation, willing to demand better?